I love abortion. I've had two, and I don't think I'll have another, but God, am I glad for the two I've had. If it wasn't for abortion, I could have an 11-year-old child with me here right now. I wouldn't have spent the past decade exploring the many options available to me. And more troubling, I would have had to figure out who the father was. Dan, the sweet blonde man I'd slept with around Thanksgiving. All I remember is a twin bed in a dark room and walking to my car in Birkenstock clogs in the snow, crunchy ice crystals getting in my shoes and melting into my sock as I drove home. It was probably Dan, but it could have been Charlie, my college boyfriend, who I'd seen one last time that winter before leaving for Europe. Our habit was not to use condoms, so how could he know I wasn't using the pill anymore, unless I told him, which I didn't. Everyone knew I was obsessed with him. I'd hang around his favorite bar waiting for him to show up, trying and failing to be indifferent. Then, seeing him, laughing and drinking together, I'd forget other plans, other friends. No, I have no idea where I'm staying tonight. Sure, I'd love to come home with you. I'd met Charlie at 17. He was 20 and seemed different from other frat guys, the way I thought I was different from the private school girls I lived with. We both had to work during school. We had that in common. He'd crawl into my bed after delivering pitas by bicycle, his body ice cold. Mostly, though, we went to parties and drank alcohol and had sex, same as everyone around us. Alcohol ended whatever it was we had. An argument while drunk about whether I'd told someone something, which I may have done also while drunk. The following 2 years of occasional sex and pretending not to care wasn't exactly satisfying, but I couldn't let go. He was a really great guy. So the first abortion was the best. Instead of having to look up Dan, no last name, or to tell Charlie that we were forever inextricably tied together in the creation of this child, I could give a dramatic ending to our story, fly to Germany, and move on. That abortion saved me from having to admit to anyone how reckless I was being with my body. I probably would have had to stop drinking, maybe get a job with healthcare. I definitely would have lost any superiority I felt over my non-elite college graduate siblings. The second one was good too, though. I still entertained the paternity question. Was it the strange Renaissance man who kept inviting me to do things? Come over, have a drink, come upstairs, climb on top, that I didn't know how to politely decline? Or the notorious local man recently kicked out of his home, named after a piece of meat, who worshipped my body? I didn't know how to say no to that either, though I tried. If the first abortion was full of youthful drama, the second one felt like I had become an adult. Instead of calling my mother in tears and exaggerating the turmoil of my decision, I knew exactly what to do. As soon as the familiar alcohol-induced nausea hit, I called Planned Parenthood and booked an appointment, which turned out to be on the first day of class for graduate school. I managed to get to both, coming home to rest alone in my studio apartment, reading or smoking a bowl, and quietly celebrating another near miss, another successful detour from facing the consequences of my actions. Props to Virginia and Vermont, both of whom provided fast and friendly abortion services, although the clinic in Vermont was a much gentler experience. Virginia, pre-Obama in 2006, still thought of itself as a red state, offering abortion but no perks. The Virginia clinic felt like a laboratory where everyone in the waiting room had a chronic condition for which they were seeking low-budget experimental treatment. It was loud and sterile in the same way as the high school cafeteria. Vermont was lovely, a bright and cheerful clinic full of smiling women, everyone with infinite patience and empathy. I love my first abortion for giving me a memory of my sweet younger brother, who attended to me when I came home that day. I gave him a list of things I needed: cheese and crackers, strawberry sour straws, sanitary napkins. He and his new driver's license found almost everything on the list and happily went back out when I told him Blockbuster had the sour straws. No questions. Just somehow knew I needed attention and kindness, which younger brothers can be really good at giving. I loved having a secret at my going away parties, taking shots of water when the alcohol just wouldn't stay down, or later whispering to a dear friend, I just had an abortion, and feeling her sympathy and awe that I was alert and hanging out. I love abortions. I love that I didn't have to think about taking care of a child alone while I was in school or moving to a new city. I love not being forced into decisions based on financial comfort and security for the past 12 years. I love telling friends or friends of friends, it's okay, you can talk about it. Abortions are okay, they're actually really good. They mean you can keep trying.